Okay, so now let's get into King David's situation as far as describing what he appeared to look like. Okay, so we're going to start out in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 10. Okay, and this is the Old Testament. Okay, in case my new viewers don't know where 1 Samuel is located at. Okay, and also this is getting into also Jesse, and Jesse is David's father. Okay, so King David down the road became, of course, King David, but at this time you had King Saul in position as being king, and you had Jesse, who is David's father. Okay, presenting eventually King David to Samuel the prophet. Okay, because Samuel the prophet was basically the mentor for King Saul at this particular time. Okay, so let's get into this understanding. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 10. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. So Jesse presented 7 of his sons in front of Samuel the prophet, because Samuel the prophet was sent to Jesse to elect a new king to be king of Israel, because of course King Saul disobeyed Yahweh's commandment. So the Most High was going to remove King Saul from his king position and replace him with somebody else. Okay, this is just a brief short-term history so my viewers can follow what's going on. Okay, because this is the short form. Okay, so it says 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 10. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahweh have not chosen these, because again, David's father Jesse was assuming that, hey, 7 of his sons was worthy enough to be king, because there was more big, larger, or more older, okay, to be the ones chosen to be king of Israel at this time. But Prophet Samuel is telling Jesse, hey, Yahweh has not chosen these men to be elected to take King Saul's spot. Okay, let's see who Prophet Samuel chose as far as elected from the Most High's order. Okay, because Yahweh is the one who ultimately chooses. Okay, but he uses men to bring things into action. Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 11. And Samuel, talking about Samuel the prophet, said unto Jesse, Jesse is the father of David, who eventually, of course, David became King David. Okay, eventually down the road. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? So now Samuel the prophet is asking Jesse, are these 7 boys all your children that you have? Let's see what Jesse says. And he said, and Jesse said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. So now Jesse saying, yes, I have another son. These are not all my sons that I presented to you, but I have another son. He's young, but he's monitoring the sheep. Okay. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. So now Samuel the prophet, okay, is now telling Jesse, hey, go get your son so we can sit down and talk. Okay. So now Prophet Samuel is interested in meeting Jesse's other son, which was David. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. So now Jesse was able to get his son David at the time, okay, to come in to meet Prophet Samuel. Okay, it says, now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. So Yahweh told Prophet Samuel that this is the boy that's going to be elected to be king over Israel. Okay, but notice what it said. Now he was ruddy. Now he was ruddy. So why did the appearance of David, like it mentioned, it say he was ruddy? So we have to know what these key words mean, okay? Because the so-called white man, he would manipulate and say, see, ruddy, see, that means white, okay? But that does not mean white. Ruddy means in something else. So we're going to go to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary that was written by, of course, white scholars who base their understanding based on the Bible definitions of certain terminology that the Bible uses. Okay. So now we go to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary and we look up the word ruddy. Okay. We look up the word ruddy, which we got on the screen right here. It says ruddy, a word used to refer to a red or fair complexion in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. Hold up, wait a minute. You see this, Israel? It's a dark skin of the Hebrews. So the white scholars know that the Hebrew Israelites were known to be dark skinned. Point blank, period. But it also uses the word fair complexion or red or fair complexion, because children of Israel at times come in different variations of brown, from a darker brown, which would be considered dark skin, or to a lighter brown, different complexion. Or like I say, or like the saying goes, for like, if you see a light skinned female that's a sister, they have different terminologies, like, oh, she's a red bone, right? But is that saying she's a so-called white woman? No, it's just saying she's not a darker shade of black or a darker shade of brown. Okay, she has a range of being more fair complexion, meaning lighter skin. So King David, or David at this time, before he was king, of course, when he became king, he still was not a variation of being a very dark skinned man. That's why it in the book of Samuel say, now he was ruddy. He was a lighter brown skinned man. Okay. Contrary to being a very dark skinned man, but he still was a so-called brother, still a so-called black man in general. Okay. So you have a variation of Hebrew Israelites being in different color complexion or skin complexion, just like you have today. Just like if you go look on the walls of Egypt, you have different variations of brown. You have some imagery on the walls of Egypt being a darker skin brown, and then you also have the imagery on Egypt. You have a lighter skin of brown. Okay, different variations of color. Okay, so now, of course, and then it also says David had a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to, meaning he was a handsome man. That's why I put it in here. Okay, that's why it's in there, to show that David was not an ugly looking man. That's what it's saying. Okay. So I brought this information out to show that David, or eventually who became King David, was not a so-called white man. Okay. So I had to bring these definitions out to show proof that David was not a white man. Okay. He was a so-called black man, but he was a lighter skin complexion. Okay. But still a black man. Okay. But different variation of skin tone. And also this is a cut to, of course, the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Because they're thinking all Hebrew Israelite men are just going to be all dark skinned men. And then if you are lighter skinned, they're teaching, oh, you got white in your family or something like that. No, 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 no. That's not what the Bible is saying. The Bible is saying ruddy, different variations of just in general being a dark skinned man. No, you could be different ranges of different shades of brown, from a lighter to a darker. Okay, you're still the same lineage of people as far as the children of Israel in this context. Okay, and also the other nations at that time had different variations of brown tone skin too as well. Okay, outside of course the Edomites being, matter of fact, even the Edomites, some Edomites, or the so-called white people that you see today, have different variation of their skin tone, ranging from a lighter pink to a darker pink color. That's why if you go to the South, they have more terminologies for certain white people as being rednecks. They're more redder than the common white folks. Okay, it's the same variation. It's common sense, people. So this is again another cut to the Christianity faith when they're teaching that David was a so-called white man, which is a lie. So this is another cut to the Christianity faith of today doctrine. Okay. So this is what we do, Israel. We bring out Bible proof. Okay. So this is going to be another proof that also at different times our people of the children of Israel did not all have woolly textured hair, because the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine is teaching that if you don't have woolly hair, you're not black. If you don't have that thick woolly hair, you're not considered an Israelite. You're not considered a black man or a black woman if you don't have woolly textured hair. And I'm going to show you in the Bible that all Israel did not have woolly textured hair. So we're going to read what type of textured hair King David had. Okay, because these black only Hebrew Israelite doctrines they have out there is not matching up with this Bible, as we've been proving throughout these different videos that I've been uploading. Okay, this is going to be a cut to the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine, or / only black people just have woolly hair doctrine. Children of Israel have different variations of texture hair, similar to the other people of the world have different textures of hair. Okay, but primarily, of course, the wool like hair substance is primarily with the black man. Okay, there's no author confusion there. 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 9. It says, and the evil spirit from Yahweh was upon Saul, talking about King Saul. Okay, as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand. So this is when David, before he became king, he used to play an instrument to soothe King Saul. Okay, and at this time, King Saul was holding a javelin, and a javelin is like somewhat like a spear. Okay, let's prove that a javelin is like a spear. It says King James Dictionary definition: javelin, a sort of spear about 5.5 feet long, the shaft of which was of wood but pointed with steel, used by a horse or foot. And then it says every Roman soldier carried 7 javelins. So again, you had even Roman soldiers carry, but again, javelin was a traditional instrument or weaponry, as far as an instrument to be used to kill people, basically, or a weapon. Okay. Let's go to the next verse. And watch, you're going to see why I'm bringing this understanding out. 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 10. And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence. So King Saul tried to kill King David by throwing the javelin, which was a spear, to the wall where David was at. But of course, David ducked and dodged and was able to dodge the spear from hitting him. Okay, it says, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall. Okay, and David fled and escaped that night. You see that? The javelin ended up going into the wall. That's how hard that King Saul threw the javelin. Okay, but David was able to escape. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 11. Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to wash him and to slay him in the morning. So you see this, Israel? You see what King Saul tried to do? Try to have men watch over David's house. And, you know, so in the morning that these particular men that Saul sent to kill David in his sleep, basically. Okay. And it says, and Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, if thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So Michal was able to get information that her father, King Saul, because King Saul was Michal's father. And of course, when King David, or David before he became king, had, killed the head Philistine soldier, and he brought the head to King Saul, and King Saul said, hey, whoever bring the head of this Philistine man to me will marry my daughter. And this is how David ended up marrying, of course, King Saul's daughter, Michal. Okay, so this is how she was able to get word that King Saul was trying to kill David at his house, because Michal's father was King Saul. Okay, of course, in case my new viewer is not understanding that. So she's telling David, if you don't leave this place, if you don't leave your house, and it's, you're gonna die in the morning, because my father brought some men to watch over your house and kill you in the morning time. So this was what Michal, King Saul's daughter, did to protect David. Okay, you're gonna see what she did. This is a wife being a helpmate at this time. Okay, but eventually Michal went off and became very disrespectful to King David, as we read on in history. And of course, he didn't deal with her sexually no more down the road. But at this time, she was being a helpmate, okay, by saving her husband's life at this point in time. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 12. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. So now Michal, being a helpmate, because that's what a wife is supposed to do, protect her husband if she's giving information to preserve his life. So this is what she did. She allowed him to escape through the window of their house, basically. Okay, by giving him information saying, hey, my father's about to kill you. Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 13. And this is what Michal did to protect her husband that night. So she made it seem as though like David was asleep in the bedroom, and he was feeling sick. But this is what she did. Now, the proof I'm bringing this out is to show what type of hair texture David had. Let's see if he had woolly hair, okay, or did he have what we consider not woolly hair. Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 19 verse 13. And Michal took an image. So when it says an image, it wasn't necessarily talking about a picture. It's talking about like somewhat like a statue or something. Okay, a statue. And laid it in the bed. So now she took this particular statue that had an appearance to being a body and laid it in the bed. Okay, and put covers on it. And it says, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. So why would she use goat's hair or near the pillow area? Because a man puts his head on the pillow because that's his head to be placed on the pillow. So she put goat's hair. She didn't go get a sheep. She got goat's hair. Okay, why did she use goat's hair? Because David did not have woolly texture style hair like a sheep. Okay, he had straight hair or wavy like situation hair, like you see somewhat like the modern day I would say just like you see the Native Americans primarily had that type of hair or something like that. Okay, that's just an example. But he didn't have woolly textured hair like the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine teaching that only Israelites only have woolly hair. But as we read, she got goat's hair, and goats don't have woolly thick hair like that. Okay, their hair texture is different, like it's more straightened. Okay, and covered it with cloth. Okay, it said and covered it with cloth. And let's see what these soldiers say. Let's see if they are convinced that, of course, David is sleeping in the bed or not. Let's see. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 14. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, he is sick. So they looking into the room at this time, seeing that he is in the bed. But really, David is not in the bed. He already escaped out of the window of his house by the help of his wife, Michal. But she protected him, to making an assumption as if David was still in the bed being sick. Okay. And of course, again, the soldiers believed it. And 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 15. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David. So again, the messengers or the soldiers or the messengers of Saul, King Saul, believed that he was sick based upon what they saw. An appearance of him being asleep in the bed with the goat's hair, which is straight hair, laying in the bed. And what appeared to be a body in the bed, which was basically like a statue or something like that. Okay, so now they went again back to David's house again, okay, to see where he was at, to see if he was in a better condition or feeling well, because they was sent to kill David at this time. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 15. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, bring him up to me in the bed that I may slay him. So again, they wanted to slay David. Okay. Let's go to the next verse. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 16. And when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. So again, once they actually went all the way in to the David's room or his house where his room was located at, they saw an image, meaning a statue in the bed with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. So now they see for themselves close up that, hey, this is not a real body in the bed. Okay, they really had to go all the way into the house to see that. From a far distance, of course, in the first time they came to David's house, it seemed as though he was in the room. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 17. And Saul said unto Michal, why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away my enemy, that he is escaped? Oh, wait a minute. You see what King Saul referred to David as? His enemy. So when we go to the New Testament, when Yahshua, the Black Messiah, is talking about love thy enemy, it's talking about your fellow Israelite brother, because at times your fellow Israelite brother or sister can be your enemy at times. But it's not talking about forgive your enemy of the other nations. It's talking about forgive the enemy of your own people. That's why Saul says, and Saul said unto Michal, why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away my enemy? And the enemy that he was referring to was David. Okay. And Michal answered Saul, he said unto me, let me go. Why should I kill thee? You know what I'm saying? So why are you going to kill David? That's what she's saying. Okay. Because David didn't do no wrong to King Saul, but the Most High put an evil spirit on King Saul at that time, okay, to bring everything into fruition as far as everything being planned. 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 18. So David fled and escaped and came to Samuel to Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in the Noeth. So again, David was able to escape, and he linked in with the prophet Samuel. Okay. But other than that, I just had to bring out that David did not have woolly texture style hair. Okay. So that's another cut to the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine. Okay, Israel, this is another cut. Okay, just because you have different texture, style of hair, does not make you not be an Israelite. Okay, that's another cut. Okay, to the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, as far as being black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine that's out there. Okay, now we got that understanding that the children of Israel come in different variations of hair texture. Children of Israel come in different color complexions. Okay, so now we got the understanding we can get rid of the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine philosophy. Okay, because that came from men that was not all the way in sound doctrine. Okay, came from originally the Ethiopian Jews philosophy. Okay, promoting Africanism philosophy, and during, of course, the 1950s time frame period. Okay, now we got that understanding. Okay, so now we're gonna do. Hold on. Yeah, so now we're going to go to the book of Song of Solomon. Okay, we're gonna get the understanding of now we understand that King David, right, is a so-called black man, but he had a lighter skin complexion, and also he had different hair texture style that was more straightened hair. Okay, so now we got to understand that he still was an Israelite, being a so-called black man. Okay, and now this is his son, and his son is going to have, of course, a different variation of of course, darker appearance. When we get this understanding, he's going to describe what color tone he is. Is he a so-called white man like they push in their movies? And the answer will be no. This is Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Okay, this is King Solomon's song that he wrote. Okay, and watch what he says. He's not going to say he's a so-called white man. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black. I am black, but comely, meaning beautiful, handsome, right? O ye daughters of Jerusalem, talking about the children of Israel in general, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Okay, so now we got that understanding, right? We got the understanding that King Solomon said he's a black man. And then he's going to say it again. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 6. Look not upon me because I am black. He said it again. 2 verses. This is another cut to the white Christianity philosophy, which is lies. Okay? And our people cannot handle the truth. This is in the Bible. This is another cut to the Christianity faith, and this is another cut to our people that want to ignore the fact that these men were so-called black men who were the prophets of the Most High, man. And still to this day, the prophets of today are still so-called black people of today. Okay? And also, of course, the gist of the Hebrew Israelites in general are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because that's basically the terminology that was placed upon us due to slavery. So I'm going to read this again. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 6. Look not upon me because I am black. I am black. Because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. So again, he's saying similar things like what Job said, right? Job says in the book of Job 30, verse 30, his skin got darker because of the sun. The same thing what King Solomon is saying. Okay, so Job was a so-called black man, and also King Solomon was a so-called black man. This is proof. Now we get the understanding when we go to Song of Solomon, right? You get an understanding on King Solomon's hairstyle, or in general, the children of Israel hairstyle. Okay, not necessarily King Solomon's hair texture or whatever like that, but we get to understand that the children of Israel had this type of hairstyle back in the day. Okay, because when we go read on down, it's getting into the children of Israel. Okay, which is going to the his. It says Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 11. His, talking about children of Israel, head, or talking about the men of Israel, of course, or just in general. His head is as the most fine gold. That's like I can read this again. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are bushy and black as a raven. Hold up, wait a minute. It didn't say nothing about his hair was blonde, right? Or it didn't say nothing like that. It didn't say yellow. It didn't say nothing like that. It said his locks are bushy and black as a raven. Because we know a raven, is normally a black raven. We see the pictures of a raven, but it says locks are bushy. So what is the locks? Is King Solomon talking about? He's talking about dreadlocks. Dreadlocks is a Hebrew custom. Okay, this is why our brothers like to wear dreadlocks all the time, because it's spiritual. It was known to be done based upon who? The children of Israel who made vows to be a Nazarene. Okay, and a Nazarene was basically, let's say, forbidden to cut off their hair. Okay, because they made an oath for a period of time. Okay, but as you can see, he mentioned his locks are bushy, and we know the so-called white man is not known throughout the world to this day having dreadlocks like that. You may have a few of them copying the so-called black man, but in general, dreadlocks always go back to the so-called black man. So again, we have another example of the children of Israel being so-called black people, or the men of the Most High as being black people. So this is why our brothers gravitate to these dreadlocks. But of course, society deems it as something else because they don't want to see our men be righteous men in appearance. Okay, but this is a cut to the white Christianity faith, because we know the white man was not known to have those type of dreadlocks that are bushy, because he don't have the same texture of hair. Okay, so this is another cut. Okay, this is another cut to the Christianity faith of today. So now we got that understanding. So let's go to Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 14. It says, his hands are as gold rings set with the beryl. His belly is as bright ivory overlaid with sapphires. Okay, as you can see, it said his hands are as gold rings. So this goes back to who? The men of Israel. Okay, we had gold rings back in the day. It's not a sin to wear rings. Okay, as you can see, this is why you look at our men, we like wearing gold colored things or diamonds and stuff like in jewelry. It's in our spirit. Okay, because we're holy men of the Most High, but we're just majority misled. Okay, misled by society. But as you can see, we wore gold rings back in the day. Okay, and also this is going to be another indication that King Solomon himself had gold jewels in his mouth. Let's prove it. And also he wore chains of gold, like you see what's that guy named Mr. T. All the gold around his neck and stuff like that, gold rings around his fingers. All this is spiritual. Okay, this is the character of a so-called black man, and we're reading this in the scriptures. Okay, so there's no getting around this Esau, the so-called white man. This does not fit your characteristics. This fits a so-called black man characteristics. Even in poverty state situation, we still have the same type of zeal, same type of spirit, which I just brought out with the dreadlocks, and also I brought out with the gold rings on our fingers. Okay, now we're going to bring out another characteristic of a so-called black man who King Solomon is describing of himself. This is what he said. Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 10. Thy cheeks are comely with rows of jewels. So Solomon had what appeared to be what? A grill. Okay, this is why black men primarily like to have grills in their mouth. Okay, your cheeks have, inside your cheek area is teeth. So rows of jewels. So again, King Solomon let you know he had jewels in his mouth in the form of a grill. Okay, because you have rows of what? Teeth. Okay, you have a top row and a bottom row. Now it didn't specify how many jewels that he had in his mouth, but it's showing you he had jewels. Okay, it could have been either gold, it could have been different variations of jewels, but he's letting you know that King Solomon letting you know that he had a grill. Okay, he had a grill. And then you go to, it says, thy neck with chains of gold. And he also had his neck with chains of gold, more than one gold chain. That's what it says, chains, plural, more than one. So this is why our brothers basically like to rock chains of gold or grills in their mouth. This is spiritual. We reading this out the Bible. So this is another cut to the Christianity faith, because the so-called white man is not known to be rocking this type of stuff as far as golds and grills and all this, unless he's mimicking the black rappers or the black entertainers. But primarily the children of Israel, the men of the Most High, was rocking this style. So we was royalty back in the day. This is royal apparel. But today, because we are in captivity, these things are looked down upon. Okay, they in society, they're trying to force the black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man to look European. And also, you know, the natives had jewelry on. The Native American men had what some of them did have dreadlock situation going on too as well. And you look at this picture right here, you see a Native American having dreadlocks and so forth. Okay, so that type of zeal, that type of understanding is a Hebrew custom. This is another cut to the black only Hebrew Israelite doctrine, saying only the black man in America was only pushing that. No, the Native Americans also and Hispanics too. Okay, they rock gold and jewelry as well. Okay, so now we got the understanding that these characteristics fit the so-called black man.